Once you have selected your in and your out point for your first clip, you're ready to bring it into your timeline. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can bring clips into a timeline. You can drag them, you can use keyboard shortcuts, you can press buttons. For now, because we're going to edit kind of quickly, we're going to just mark in and out points and drag them into our timeline. So I have my in and out point marked. I'm going to simply click and drag and bring this clip into the timeline. Now we can go back and play the out point in our timeline.
Like Gluten-Free Magazine, and I'm so excited to welcome you to our test kitchen.
So she's just about to turn, and let's go to camera 3, which is a close-up of Vanessa. I'm going to look for the part of the clip where she turns her head and introduces me, and mark an in and an out point, and bring that into my timeline also.
And then let it rise, and then...
So there's the point where she's turning her head. Now remember, I'm going to refine this a little bit later, so if not quite matching the action, don't worry. I'll mark an in point by pressing the I key again.
My friend Ave is here today to learn how to make an amazing gluten-free main dish.
So that's a good enough chunk of time, about 3 or 4 seconds. I'm going to simply press O to mark an out point, and now I'm going to bring it down into my timeline. You'll notice when I bring it to the timeline that there's a function called snapping, so the clips will snap right to each other. If for some reason they're not snapping on your computer, simply go over here to the magnet and click on it or press the S key. Now let's see how that edit looks.
So excited to welcome you to our test kitchen. My friend Ave is here today.
I was pretty lucky on that. That's pretty spot on the match. The only difference is the audio doesn't match from one camera to the other. And we'll look at fixing that in a subsequent movie. Let's go ahead and bring in a third clip, and then we'll bring in the title.
To learn how to make an amazing gluten-free main dish.
So she's looking back at the camera. It's time to cut back to that main shot. Once again, we'll double-click to load camera 1, the wide shot, into our source panel. And as you see, we still have the old in and out points marked, which is good because I know that she's going to come back to camera about right here. There she is looking at the camera. I'll mark an in point, and as soon as I press the I key, you'll notice that the original in and out points disappear. I can press the space bar to play and watch her until she finishes her line.
Main dish. So we're making one of my favorite things right now, and this is a honey barbecue chicken pizza.
I'll simply press O to mark an out point, and once again, drag the clip to the timeline. This time, I think we might not have as good of a cut.
Free main dish.
So we have a little bit of repeating action there, and we'll learn to refine that edit in a later movie. Now, if I want to bring a clip in front of, say, another clip, or in this case, at the very beginning of my timeline, I can do that also by dragging and dropping. Let's go ahead and load our opening graphic called Opening 1280 MP4 into our source monitor. We're going to take the entire clip, so I'm not even going to mark an in and an out point, and I'm going to drag it down to my timeline. Now, if I let go at this point, it's going to do an overwrite edit and actually replace the clip that's on the timeline. But I don't want to overwrite the clip. I want to insert it. And if you notice in the lower left-hand corner of the screen, you'll see that Premiere Pro actually will give you some tips on using modifier keys to change the way the editing works. You see it says Command, and that's going to change it from an insert to an overwrite. Now, if you're on a Windows machine, you don't have a Command key, but the tip will tell you what key you need to use. I'm going to hold down the modifier key, and you'll notice that underneath my cursor, the icon changes from pointing down to pointing to the right, and now when I let go of my mouse, it will insert the opening clip and push everything down the timeline to allow it to fit. Now, as I'm editing, I always go back and play from the previous clip to the next clip to see how the timing is.
Welcome to Delight Gluten-Free Eats.
Getting the clips on the timeline in the right order is only the first step. The next step is refining your edit and making sure when you cut from shot to shot, everything works smoothly.